Kia ora tātou, ka nui taku mihi ki a tātou, ka nui taku aroha ki a tātou. I say that most sincerely from me to all of you. Here I am, sitting in self-isolation in my little house on Waiheke Island, to all of you people in self-isolation wherever you are. I thought I would just spend a bit of time talking about some of the videos that many of you have been uplifting and sharing with your kids over recent days. I'm really pleased that you're doing this, and I thought you might appreciate a little bit of background information on them. For a start, why have I actually put them together? Well, I suppose it was about a week ago when I started to hear talk around about, gee, our schools might have to close down quite soon. Our kids might have to start learning from home. How can we actually undertake this? How can we go about supporting our kids at home? And of course I started to think from my work, so what could I do to actually help with this situation? So I thought, right, I'll think about some of the maybe most successful, most effective writing lessons that I've taken over the last few years. I'll have a go at seeing if I can replicate some of them onto a video and put them out there in a way that you can actually share with your kids, get your kids to actually undertake some of the writing activities and tasks that come from them and get kids writing again. That's what it's all about. Now I'm doing that very simply, very unprofessionally. As I said, here I am sitting in my front room. We've turned part of it into a little bit of a film studio, which has actually been quite a bit of fun. We've got a camera up in front of me. My partner is actually operating this for me and putting everything together. We're getting it up on YouTube. We're having to learn how we go as we go along with it and that, but we are giving it a go. So, as I said, I do hope this is useful to you. So, yep, so far we've got 3, and by the end of today, there will be 4 films, 4 lessons up there for you people to upload and utilise with your kids. Let me give you a little bit of background on selecting what to actually put onto film and how to go about it. Well, I suppose I used a number of criteria when I thought about what shall I actually try and capture on film. Well, obviously, for a start, it all had to be about topic. It all had to be about what topics will engage kids, will excite kids, will motivate kids. And I thought, as I thought about topic, maybe picture books, which I love to use, are the way around this. But I'll use other things besides picture books as we move on with this. The next criteria that was really important to me was the whole notion of trying to actually put best practice into this. So I hope you'll pick up that in any lesson that I put up there are 6 or 7 steps that I go through, and I regard these as best practice in teaching and learning for literacy purposes. I hope you'll note that the first thing that I do with the kids is actually settle on a topic. Settle on a topic. What are we going to write about? Then the next thing that I try and do in each of these is just to develop some content with the kids. In other words, I know what I want to write about, but what could be in my writing? Now, I do a lot of that through reading of the text and discussion of the text. But it's important not just that we've got something to write about, but we've got some content floating around our head to put into that writing. The third thing I hope you'll notice that I've done all the time is that to set a task. Whether our task has been to describe someone, or to retell a story, or to recount something, or maybe as we go on to explain or to persuade people about something. There's always a task. Sometimes as well, I've also tried to demonstrate how I would get ready to write. And of course, that has been my planning. So basically, I've tried to show students how I plan the writing. Sometimes I do that extensively, sometimes I do it just a little bit. Sometimes, particularly with juniors, I do it through a drawing and some words around the drawing. Sometimes I do it through a flow chart, through some sort of other chart. What about after that? Just before we start to write, what have you picked up? That the next thing I do is that I devise some criteria with the kids. In other words, what am I going to have to be good at as a writer to do this job well? Right. Now you'll have noticed that usually instead of writing out full words, I just use little icons there, just to make it manageable for me, manageable for the kids. Then you'll have noticed that I do a little bit of shared writing with the kids. So basically, shared writing with the kids, where I've actually used my think alouds to try and devise a sentence or two on my topic to meet my task around the criteria. In the classroom, of course, I probably wouldn't do that with the whole class. I would have some kids working independently, while with others I would bring them together for shared writing. So my phrase to kids is always, what will I need to be good at as a writer to do this task well? So that's when I'll undertake my shared writing with the kids. And then hopefully you've noticed at the end that we return back to that criteria and have we actually met it as I set them off on having a go. So I've talked first of all about having engaging, motivating topics for the kids, but I've also talked about encompassing Beeth Practice within my work that I've tried to put out there on film, and that's the steps that I've moved through there. I've also tried to put them out in a way that will actually require limited adult supervision. Yeah, great if their parents or caregivers are there supporting them through it. Great if you can also help them do that from a distance. But hopefully kids will be able to follow these by themselves. And even if they get nothing else out of it, at least they'll be read some great stories. What else? Well, I think there's two other criteria that are really important to me. First of all, that it be fun, and finally, that it be free. Yeah, my idea was that I wanted to put something out there that everyone could access, that it was free to schools, to teachers, to kids, my little contribution to this madness. Now, how would I hope that you would use them? Well, obviously, you'll look on YouTube, you'll look at the list of videos as they come out. You'll ask yourself which ones are most suitable for the age group that I'm teaching, which topics would most interest my kids, etc. I hope that you'll look carefully at the videos yourself before you send them out to kids. You'll think to yourself as you send them out, what directions do I need to give that Murray maybe doesn't give in his video to the kids? I'm also hoping, though, that you really encourage the kids to write from these videos, and you put yourself in a situation where you can respond to their writing. Whether they do it as Google Docs, whether they do some writing and scan it and send it in to you, that's up to you, that's up to them, that's an arrangement between both parties. But I'm really hoping that you can then respond to their writing, particularly to the content of the writing. I just want these kids to have fun and remain in the habit of writing as often as they can. Right, where am I going to next with this? Well, as I said near the beginning, really we're making this up as we go along, but my plans at the moment are to keep putting these films out there for you, to try and continue to cover a range of topics, a range of books for a range of age groups. So if possible, I'd like to put a new one up every day if I possibly can. But also, I'm in discussion with the ministry at the moment about possibly incorporating some of these into their website, their Learning from Home website. I'm not sure if this particular website is going at the moment. The ministry probably will notify you when it's up there, but I think you'll find some of my work on that as well. Right, that's all I really wanted to share with you. Do get back to me if you've got any particular questions, but in the meantime, I hope they're useful. I hope they're fun for you and your kids, and most importantly, everyone, stay safe and let's get through this together. Kia ora.